Welcome to Coding with Tom. Today we're going to be adding these labels to each one of the restaurants. Then as you can see, because the number of restaurants has increased, we're going to be adding a search bar to filter by the name of the restaurant. And we'll also add a segment control to filter by dietary preferences.
We will begin by modifying the model. We'll be adding dish type to the restaurant. From the service, we'll be getting an array for the dish types that the restaurant supports. It can be an empty array, or it can have different values. Next, we will modify the restaurant view model to include labels. So that will be the name of the dietary preference, followed by the color that we will be displaying in the background of the label. Adding this modification will make it so that our view model is no longer hashable by default, since the tuple is not equatable. So we will need to add those two functions. We're going to be using this use case as an intermediary to filter the restaurant according to the search text and the dish type that we are selecting. That way we don't have to modify the restaurant service and actually mutate the source of truth that may affect other classes that are listening to that publisher. Since all of the restaurants must be presented under one category, we're going to be creating a dummy one for the filtered ones. And it will have its own SF symbol. Let's make the text on those labels white. That looks much better. Now you'll notice that we have a lot more restaurants than pastime. So to improve the experience for the user, let's add a search bar to our categories view controller. To present that search bar in the navigation item of the view, we're going to be using UI Search Controller. UI Search Controller has inside a UI search bar. To get notified of the changes in the search bar, our controller needs to conform to UI search results updating, and each time the text changes, this method will be called, even when the search is cancelled. We will also be calling the view model, notifying the change in the search text. Here we have our search bar placed in the navigation view. Now you'll see that when we are searching, we have our category with the filter, and each of the restaurants here are in that section. However, we don't want that to be collapsed at the beginning, so for that we're going to be modifying how we update the section snapshot. If we just have one category in our list of items, then we'll have that section expanded by default. To add the segmented control with the different dish types, we just need to add scope button titles to our search bar. We already have dish type. We'll make it conform to case iterable so we can list all of the dish type titles here. Then to listen to the changes in the scope selection, we just have to conform to UISearchBar delegate. And like with the text, we update our value and then call the view model. Now we're just missing returning the categories to its original state once the search is cancelled. For that, we're just going to modify one thing in our use case. Now we can search for something, and when we cancel it, we return to the original state. And that was all for today. UI Search Controller makes it really easy to implement a search bar embedded in our navigation controller. Also, thanks to the implementation that we had in our use case, it's very simple to filter out the results. That was all for today. Bye!